Trade reports are escalating around the Vancouver Canucks as NHL insider Elliotte Friedman has linked the Vancouver Canucks to the perfect center as he reveals massive trade details with the Canucks as they actively look to fill out their second line center position, linking them to an Eastern Conference center that fills the void perfectly. We're going to break down everything you need to know on this player, Elliotte Friedman's quotes linking the Vancouver Canucks, and exactly what the Canucks are going to look at giving up to acquire this player. We got so much to break down in this episode, you're not going to miss it. So let's just dive straight into it today. Wherever you were watching the game last night and you got into the intermission, Elliotte Friedman linked the Vancouver Canucks to Pavel Zacha of the Boston Bruins. Now, this is a name that you have probably seen before, but Elliotte Friedman went in with even more details surrounding the Vancouver Canucks as Filip Hronek is out and the team is consistently looking for help down the middle. Now, Elliotte Friedman went in last night to say, I think it's all the way going back to the summer. The Canucks and Bruins have been on and off about this. Now, the Canucks have looked all summer. We've seen the reports that every team pretty much was looking for a center coming through, but with Friedman speaking on this, linking the Vancouver Canucks as the top team looking at Pavel Zacha, things get even more interesting. We have so much to break down. So listen, continuing on, we know Pavel Zacha, 6'4", 28 years old, off to an incredible start with the Boston Bruins in 10 games, 9 points, 2 goals. This guy does everything you want at the center position, including defense, faceoffs, scoring goals, setting people up. Pavel Zacha is molding himself into the perfect second line center, and he's been doing it for quite some time. Now, continuing on, the biggest thing with Zacha, you're not only getting a big body that can go out and score you goals and put up points, but on the faceoff this season, 59% from the dot, 48 wins with 32 losses. Pavel Zacha has consistently been a 50% guy on the faceoff dot. He's not going to go out and throw the most hits, though 2 years ago, 106 hits. Pavel Zacha had seasons with 47 points, 59 points, 57, 36. He's the type of player you want on your team and would be the perfect complementary piece behind Pettersson as the Vancouver Canucks are down quite a few centers with Filip Hronek, Teddy Blueger, and so many more names that are off this. Now, the big thing is Pavel Zacha does have a no-trade list, but Elliotte Friedman went in to say, I do not believe that the Canucks are on Zacha's no-trade list. Now, looking at Zacha, the contract, everything about this is perfect. 3 year of 4.75 million. Pavel Zacha coming in is not only a rental, but you're getting him for 2 years on the Vancouver Canucks if you're acquiring this player. Coming in at this cap hit, a lot of teams are actively around Zacha, but the Canucks have a lot of leverage when it comes to the center position and how they can acquire him over a lot of other teams, which we're going to dive into shortly. But once again, an 8-team no-trade list for Pavel Zacha the last 2 years of his deal, including this year, coming in at a reasonable cap hit. The fact he's putting up points off to a hot start. Everything seems perfect for the Vancouver Canucks if they want to go out and acquire this guy. Patrik Allvin is serious about turning this team into a contender. We've seen the Lukas Reichel trade. Listen, he wasn't the best on the dot, but more of a winger. If you're bringing in someone that can take over the consistent center spot, Lukas Reichel moves to the wing. This team looked even deeper than we were expecting, though we were expecting quite a bit. But a lot of injuries did derail that. And continuing in, Pavel Zacha, once again, someone that's going to go out and put you up near on over 40 points, close on 50. He was consistent in the playoffs for the Bruins, 13 games played, 6 goals in his second appearance, technically third, but when he was younger. The thing with Pavel Zacha is he's going to consistently do everything for you on the defensive end, the offensive end, in the playoffs, in crucial moments, face-offs. And I think the biggest thing with the face-offs around Pavel Zacha is looking at Elias Pettersson on the Canucks at the current moment, getting a lot of defensive zone starts, and he's been struggling at the centers. So the biggest thing is, if you're bringing in someone that's going to be a consistent guy that can win you face-offs, this would move Pettersson into an offensive zone start, more in the neutral zone, and let Zacha and Aatu, who's also incredible, take more face-offs in these crucial moments in the defensive zone, so you're not giving up offensive possessions to the opposing teams, blowing leads, whatever it might be. There's a lot of value. And Friedman continues on. Teams are looking for centers. Boston doesn't have to do anything here if they don't want to, but this has been kind of a dance with the Canucks and other teams. It seems like they want to try and Zacha out of here. So with the Canucks being named every single time, we've seen it going back into the summer, where reporters were linking Pavel Zacha. We know Patrik Allvin is being very active. He's already made one trade so far this week, going out to get Lukas Reichel, who joined the Canucks last night versus the Montreal Canadiens. But the biggest thing is, if the Canucks are going to continue looking to add, we know Quinn Hughes has a timer. This Canucks team is not active and going out to make pushes for the playoffs, though I thought they had, listen, they blew a lead, but a good game where they fought. They looked better than most nights. Elias Pettersson is currently right now second in block shots for forwards and scored last night. The team is starting to gel. Injuries are hurting them, and going out to get a guy to fill in the center position, especially once they get healthy, would be huge for the team. Now, making this trade, you're going to have to move out some cap space. Maybe it's someone like a Vander Kane, Drew O'Connor, someone that has a bit of cap space. The Bruins are not going to retain on Pavel Zacha, especially if you're not going to give up even more, a boatload more of prospects, picks, or whatever it takes. But going deeper into this, speaking to Kirk Day from Bruins Digest, asking him what he has been hearing around the team, what the asking price would be around. Kirk went in to say, stuff I've been seeing, it looks like it could be a better end prospect and a third to fourth rounder. Now, the Vancouver Canucks do have draft capital. They moved out a pick to bring in Lukas Reichel, a steal of a trade in my opinion, though he didn't have the best game. But bringing in someone like Pavel Zacha, you're going to have to move out draft capital. The Canucks have made it very clear from the reports that we've seen that they do not want to move on from their first round pick in this year's draft. This is the draft that's going to be a lot better than last year, and the Canucks already got an incredible player in Braden Cooch just last draft with 15th overall. So if the Canucks are going out to make this trade, if Kirk is looking at the reports and saying that a lot of this is a top end or a better end prospect and a third or fourth rounder, the Canucks could pry a lot of leverage with a lot of their players. You're looking at some of the prospects. Tom Willender could be a guy that, listen, I do not want to move on from him or Jonathan Lekramacky, but with a lot of the defensemen really starting to step up, we see Victor Mancini looking like an everyday NHL player, though sent down due to cap compliance. The big thing is the Canucks have a lot of prospects, the goaltending prospects. Maybe they want to dangle Medvedev, though I think holding on to him is the best option. They have a lot of guys. Maybe Ty Young is a piece that goes back. Maybe Jonathan Lekramacky is a player that, once again, I do not want to give up on. But if the Canucks are looking at this team and people are going up against the Canucks to say, hey, we're going to offer this plus a second, the Canucks don't have a lot of draft capital, especially if they want to keep that first. They don't have a second next year in 2027. So moving maybe the 2026 and a prospect, or 2 fourth-round picks, or a third round and a top-end prospect. This gives the Canucks leverage, but Canucks fans, what would you give up to bring in Pavel Zacha? Would you move out a trade with Jonathan Lekramacky and a mid-round pick to bring him into the team with no retention? You probably have to attach Drew O'Connor, Vander Kane, or more contracts to get this under the compliance. Though Filip Hronek goes on IR, or season-ending IR, the biggest thing is you do get his cap hit, so maybe the Canucks are waiting for this. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, and things are heating up, so keep your eye on all that. But I've been your host, Mark, and take care, Canucks fans.